Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I want to touch on an interesting topic, connecting the dot. Episode 1 is circumcision, it's about circumcision. So, growing up in West Africa, specifically Nigeria, we were always told that we are Christian gentiles outside to the people of the Bible. But are we really Gentiles? Or over time, I've come to realize that we, the Negroid race, suffer from an identity crisis. Many of us Black Africans don't ask questions about who we truly are, where we come from, or how we inherited the custom and traditions we still practice today. Instead, we have accepted the version of history passed down to us by our colonizer, a history that keeps us disconnected from our roots, our true identity. As I got older, I started thinking for myself. I realized something wasn't adding up. I began researching and asking questions, doing my due diligence. One day, out of curiosity, I asked my dad a question. How did we come about the circumcision rituals we practice in Nigeria? So that was my question for him. In many African culture, newborn boys are circumcised and given a name on the 8th day after birth. The exact same practice found in the Bible. My dad told me it's in the Bible. We are Christians, so he sort of kind of tried to tie these practices with Christianity, but I wasn't satisfied. I pressed further. You know, did your father practice the same 8-day circumcision before Christianity? Pay attention to the days where the boys are circumcised after birth. He said yes, they did. So I asked further questions. Were your forefathers Christian? Because he was saying this is associated to Christianity somehow. He said, no, not even my father was a Christian. Interesting. At the moment I realized something profound. Our ancestors were practicing this ancient custom long before Christianity or Islam reached West Africa. So where did they get it from? So my dad was a little bit confused about this because he said, oh, yeah, he hasn't really given it so much thought how his parent was able to practice it even before Christianity. So this led me to a journey of connecting the dot, comparing West African tradition with those of the ancient Israelite. Are we the same people who were disconnected from our heritage, or is this all just a coincidence? Could it be that we used to be these people, but because we have been displaced so many times, we kept on to the tradition, but we have forgotten our root? Circumcision is not just a random practice, it's a Semitic covenant. The Israelite descendant of Shem were commanded to practice circumcision as a sign of their covenant with the God of Israel. If we are not Shemite, how did we end up with a Shemitic covenant? Because Shemite, the family of Shemite, is the Ishmaelite, the Israelite, and the Moabite. Interestingly, circumcision is often frowned upon in Europe, where it's called mutilation of the flesh. This reveals the false narrative that Christianity is somehow associated with circumcision. So circumcision predates Christianity and Islam and was practiced by ancient Israelite as part of their covenant with the Most High. So why is it that we in West Africa have kept this practice for generations? Circumcision in the Bible, the Bible teaches that circumcision was first instituted by God with Abraham in Genesis 17, making a lasting covenant between God and his people. That is the Shemitic family. And later then passed down to Israel. Genesis 17, 10 to 12 says that this is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and thy seed, and after thee every man child among you shall be circumcised, and you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you, speaking to Abraham, and that the 8 day old shall be circumcised among you. So he said, the 8 days old boy shall be circumcised among you. As time went on, circumcision remained an important covenant sign for the people of Israel. This same 8 day circumcision was practiced by Jesus Christ and John the Baptist as seen in the New Testament. So we found this in the book of Luke chapter 2 verse 21 in the KJV version, how and when 8 days was accomplished for circumcising of the child, and his name was called Jesus, just like we used to practice, especially in the Yoruba culture, 8 day circumcision for the boys, and then the naming ceremony at the same time. So circumcision in West African culture. So let's dive into it just a little bit further. Fast forward today in West Africa, the same 8 day circumcision is deeply embedded in our culture long before Christianity and Islam arrived in West Africa. Our ancestors were already practicing these rituals. In fact, every male child born into a traditional West African family must be circumcised. This same practice that the Bible teaches, like Jesus was circumcised on the 8th day. So here's my question now. If we are just Gentiles with no blood connection to the Israelite, how did we end up practicing a key Israelite covenant long before Christianity or Islam arrived in the shores of our land? How did our ancestors keep a tradition that mirrors the Bible so precisely? Is this a coincidence? I don't think so. Could it be that we are the people, the same people, the lost sheep of the house of Israel, who have been disconnected from their heritage? Because we know back then that because of slavery and exile and displacement, we have forgotten most languages and forgotten some of our traditions and culture, but we kept some. The significance of circumcision for the ancient Israelites, circumcision was more than a physical act. It was spiritual, a sign of covenant and identity. God said, this mark will distinguish his people from the other nation. It was a seal that they were his chosen people. So, in Deuteronomy, let's talk about sign. In Deuteronomy 28:46, sign. It said, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Like, this is how you're going to identify this particular people, by a specific sign. In the same way, circumcision remained an unshakable custom in West Africa culture. It was survived through colonization, slavery, and religious influence, just like it did for the ancient Israelite. Like regardless how they were sent into exile, they was able to preserve some of their traditions, which circumcision is one of them. So the same thing with us. Even West Africans that was taken into slavery, they was able to hold on to their tradition. So could our custom, like circumcision, be a proof of a deeper spiritual identity if we have been keeping the laws and traditions of the Bible long before Christianity or Islam? What does that say about who we really are? So this will explain why we have a lot of striking similarities in our traditions to the ancient Israelite in the Bible. This is just the beginning of a journey to connect the dot. In this series, I will be diving deeper into West African tradition that reflect the culture of ancient Israel. So, I encourage you to stay tuned. The time has come for us to ask questions and wake up to our true identity, the real narrative. So, shalom. See you next time.